Hey Dan, can you post the link to the show?
All right. All right. Post the link. Yes, if you go to YouTube and then type in Get Cyber. So Get Cyber, you will see us right there. That's where the link is. And I forgot to post it because, we work in a company and, our staff loves to watch our show as well. So go to that link. Maybe Gladstone, if you can actually post that on the hangouts, that would be great.
Sure.
Yeah, so just Get Cyber on YouTube. All right, everybody, sorry about that. We're just having some discussion in here, and thank you so much for joining us. My name is Dan Duran, and I'm the host of the Tech Lounge. We discuss here topics related to business, entrepreneurship, cybersecurity, and today we're going to talk about review bombing on social
Woo!
media.
Yeah.
Yeah, defamation, all of that juicy stuff. Just remember, we stream live on YouTube every Friday at 12 o'clock, also on LinkedIn and Facebook. So don't forget to follow us using the hashtag Vanduran. Hold on. There you go. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. So now sit back and relax. This is the Tech Lounge. I have some very important people with me, of course. I have my co-host extraordinaire, Andrew Summerton. Hello, Andrew. How are you?
Hey, Dan. I'm good, buddy. Good to see everybody again.
Nice to see you too. I also have Gladstone Yamasepor. G Money. What's up, G?
Wow, well done. Very good pronunciation, Dan. That was incredible. Thank you for that introduction.
Thank you
Hello,
so
guys.
much.
Nice to be here.
Dan, can I just? I got to make some before we have a last introduction. I love your hats, guys. They're incredible. They're very, very.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Bright.
they really stand out. I feel like I'm in the shadows back here with those amazing hats.
No need to feel that. You have the best of all, which is the Rhino logo big on your
There you
chest.
go. There you go.
Represent, buddy. Represent. Yes, and we have a very special guest today, as you can see in the studio, Tamara Olmedo. Tamara has been an entrepreneur for over 10 years, working in the personal fitness industry. She is a mother, she's a wife, and she's also a registered nurse. Welcome to the studio, Tamara Olmedo.
Oh, thank you
Welcome.
so much. Thanks,
Welcome, Tamara.
guys. I am so humbled
Hey,
that you
Tamara.
guys, esteemed gentlemen, would have me on your show today. So amazing.
you-
Thank you.
You flatter us, but I mean, you're
I know.
the star of the show today. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, and Tamara is one of our biggest fans, so we were like, "Hey, Tamara, why don't you
Huge
just come on
fan.
the show and talk about this, review bombing and Johnny
Right.
Depp and all of that stuff?" Which is, I think, is going to be a really good show. So stick around.
Yeah.
And Andrew, so who do we have in line? Is there anybody saying hi? Any shout outs from the crowd?
We've got quite a few actually. So Sonia, hey guys, happy Friday. Well, happy Friday to you, Sonia. Oscar, happy Friday, guys. Happy
Hey,
Friday,
Oscar.
Hello,
Hey, guys.
hello.
And I'm going to throw out my disclaimer right now while we're saying hello to everybody. Now, this
Oh.
show, as you know, our Tech Lounge is all about introduction. It's about education. It's about cybersecurity. It's about sharing our thoughts. They're not legal thoughts. They're not necessarily directed at anybody specific. We want to just basically bring awareness to our space and people in a fun and educational way that hopefully people can take some fundamental things away from them. So we do not have any political stance, and we certainly do not represent any organization or anything like that that's going to hurt anybody in any way, shape, or form.
All right.
Wow.
Man,
I think you covered it all, Andrew.
he has. Wow. So yeah, perfect. So let's talk about Johnny Depp. Okay, so it is a full crap full of poo poo right now. It's a poo poo fest. I don't want to say that on the show, but it is a mess, right? And Gladstone brought this forward in the fact that allegedly he's been doing some campaigning on the backside on social media, Gladstone. Can you like
Yeah.
good
So,
introduction to that? What's going on, man?
okay, so bear with me. I'll just give you a quick synopsis of what's going on. So, some years back, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, they ended their marriage, and after that, Amber Heard had published an op-ed on one of these publications. I think it was in the UK. And after this was done, this impacted Johnny Depp's career, and he started losing. He was basically canceled, right? So he was losing a lot of gigs, a lot of new opportunities, and he actually fought the case, and he took the news publication to court. He lost. I believe there was actually two trials, and he ended up losing. So everyone that knows Johnny Depp has expressed that he's not the type of person that he's being portrayed as. Amber Heard has alleged that there was some domestic violence in the relationship, and that
Mm.
he was abusing alcohol and drugs. And so Johnny Depp decided that he wanted to kind of reclaim his what's the word I'm looking for? His
Credibility.
reputation. Yeah, his
Reputation.
credibility, reputation. So he decided to bring the case to the United States, and currently it's being tried in Virginia. And I believe it's actually today's the last day.
Oh
Wow.
wow,
So throughout the
today.
case, yeah, today I believe it's today. Don't quote me on that. But throughout the case, there's been a lot of public, outcry. There's been a lot of comments, and it seems like everyone is kind of leaning towards Johnny Depp. He's had a lot of
Okay. But
witnesses that are testifying to his character, and sorry, go ahead, Dan.
yeah, so the thing is there's two lawsuits going on. So there is a counter suit
Hmm.
done by Amber as well against
Correct.
Johnny Depp
Yeah,
in
yeah.
trial, right? So it is kind
Yes.
of they're going back and forth
So
to see
she's
who wins.
alleging that his team, his PR team, is doing a campaign to kind of besmirch her name and just make her look crazy in the
Yes.
court of public opinion. So that's what kind of made me think that this was a good topic, because it does touch on a lot of social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, all sorts of online platforms,
Business, everything.
business. So I
Big
thought this
time.
would be a good topic, because just to show you how, people's opinion in this space that we live in now, everyone has a voice to now, kind of put out their thoughts,
And
right?
that
And to
that
show
voice
how
is
this can
strong.
affect you. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So I have a couple of videos in here and a few articles that you sent me and other people sent me about Johnny Depp. I'm not
Yes.
into Johnny Depp and the Amber case too much, but thanks, we have the experts in here, right? So yeah, let's look at this dude. This is Legal Eagle on YouTube. Great video. So let's watch, and it's gonna give us a little introduction into Amber in Johnny case.
It's funny. Usually, in a domestic defamation dispute like this, the internet has all kinds of opinions, but they've been completely silent about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. It's weird. Oh, okay. Yeah, so Johnny Depp is suing Amber Heard. She is suing him at exactly the same time. This is all incredibly crazy. And this latest suit and countersuit is already turning into a circus. Of course, for Hollywood celebrities leading public lives, it seems like there's no such thing as a truly private matter. And this has certainly been the case for Amber Heard, who has publicly accused her ex-husband, Johnny Depp, of subjecting her to years of physical and emotional abuse during their marriage. And Depp, for his part, has vehemently denied the allegations, accusing Heard of defaming him with fabricated claims while portraying Heard as the real abuser. And while Heard has primarily aired her grievances to the media, Depp has opted to take his fight to the courtroom in both the UK and the state of Virginia. Now, determining the truth of domestic violence allegations is invariably a challenging prospect. As a result, the public's response to these allegations has been incredibly polarizing, with Heard and Depp having their own supporters and detractors alike. So, Legal Eagles, let's talk about the Johnny Depp Amber Heard saga. Well,
yeah, that's the little intro, and but the thing that we are after is this report here from the Washington Examiner. It says expert shows over 3 million negative tweets about Heard
Yeah.
since 2020. What do you make of this, Gladstone?
I'm not sure if it's necessarily a campaign by Johnny Depp, but it could just be people voicing their opinion, right? With the advent of social media, now anyone and everyone can give their opinion. So if you've watched the case, I mean, I'll be honest with you, it seems to me that she's lying, right? If you watch her performances, it looks like just that. It looks like she's performing badly at that, right? So in my opinion, I think these are probably organic. I don't think it's necessarily a campaign,
Mm.
but again,
And
that's my opinion.
I think
Okay.
you're right, Glassman, because in a lot of that, I don't think it's necessarily Johnny or even his team. I think it's Johnny Depp is so recognized globally that he has a lot of support. And again, Amber, on her, to your point, and again, this is strictly speculation, and we don't really know the truth until the courts come out with it. But she doesn't seem like what she's telling is factual, etc., and just slandering him and his professional name, etc. So I think it's just the public speaking out. As you said, everybody has a voice now, and there's an awful lot of people with that voice.
I agree with you guys completely. I think too, same thing. My first impression too was just like Johnny Depp, and I'm a big fan personally.
Mhm.
So, but not again. I don't really knew much of Amber Heard, so
Right.
already I'm gonna have that bias. Like
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm
good
a
point.
Depp fan. So
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so just to take it a little farther, because this is okay. Yeah, it could be organic. She received 3 million negative tweets since 2020, which I think 3 million negative tweets is a lot, even for a really
Celebrity.
bad celebrity. How about this article, which takes it a little bit farther? Social
Mhm.
media forensic expert claims Adam Walden spearheaded negative tweets against Amber Heard. So this is definitely, there's people saying here that this is not just like a natural organic defamation from comments from people, but this is an actual act of review bombing,
Well,
right?
I think
Well,
that. Sorry, Glass, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but the and that's exactly what this whole show is about, right? Is there is organic reviews that are trusted, that you basically go through different people, but then there's also group bombings where it's actually more directed at a specific event or a target, and it could be really manipulated. And there's a lot of companies and organizations like Google and stuff that actually oversee that and try to avoid that as much as possible. But to your point, Dan, it's exactly that. If it's targeted, it's one way, and if it's organic, it's a wholly different, completely.
right.
Yes.
So I think there's a possibility that it could have been targeted in the sense that maybe Johnny Hurt's team is putting out information to kind of get the ball rolling and then just letting nature take its course, right? So
Yeah.
pretty much maybe they're putting out videos, leaking some,
Create.
exactly. So they're putting this out and then letting the public run with it, and they're running with it, right? Unfortunately, it's human nature that with any sort of technology or any invention, we always find a way to make it into a negative thing, right? I challenge somebody to name me one thing that humans have invented that they haven't been able to weaponize, right? And unfortunately,
Mhm.
social media is now that sort of thing,
Good
right? It
point.
can
Yeah.
be used for
yeah,
positivity, but also it can be used for negativity. But in this case, I still believe it's organic. They just kind of got the ball rolling, and the public
Yeah.
ran with it.
So yeah, absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely. So Tamara, I have a question for
yeah,
you. Like,
sure.
does this whole scandal and what happened in the past with Amber have to do with the Me Too movement?
Okay, yeah. So that's an interesting, I think, sort of twist to this is that, again, when Me Too came out, and the majority of, I would say that the celebrities and the instances that were reported on it were on the females, right? The women reporting they as the victim and the abuses that were, imposed upon them. So this is different because this is now, Johnny Depp being the male in the relationship coming out with this. So for me personally, and again, being a Johnny Depp fan, although I am a female, I did right off the bat sort of think about this in a different way. Because I was like, yes, I am female, and I'm the Me Too movement, and we're like, yes, man, we have to talk about the abuses, and a lot of women are suffering through these things, and it's time to talk about it, right?
Yeah,
Clear
yeah.
the air.
I'm going from the fact that, and correct me if I'm wrong. A few years ago, when the Me Too movement was going on, um, Johnny Depp received a lot of backlash because of Amber, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he missed out on a bunch of
Oh, for
movies that he
sure.
could have
Yep.
made and millions of dollars in revenue because because of this. Do you think this is kind of like going back full circle now, or
Well, I feel, I think in a way, this is not, and again, I'm not trying to take sides, but this is not a bad idea for, in this situation. It's going to open the door to maybe there are accusations that either are false, or perhaps don't you have a right to defend yourself, right? That piece has got to be there. And I feel like in this situation with Johnny Depp, yeah, you're right. He suffered a bit from it, of course, reputation, career. And in his mind, and again, people will say he is innocent and this is, he was a victim of abuse. And if you want to believe that, then does he not have a right to defend himself? Say something back. And so it's kind of, I feel like it's sort of, rocking the boat a bit with this whole Me Too thing. It's like Me Too can apply to both genders, can apply to any real,
Sure.
either sex. And it's really just about, again, in this case, there's abuse happening in the relationship on both ends.
Yeah.
From what I read.
I mean, that poo incident was like, I was
That's
just
kind of
shaking my
crazy.
head. I'm like, what the hell? What is that? All right, so let's talk about, like, if we
Yeah.
walk away a little bit from Johnny
I
Depp
think
Yeah,
and
from the
hashtag,
entertainment side of things and talk business.
Amber
and stuff.
Heard, let's talk about the concept of review bombing. Okay, so this is for those of you who don't know what the review bombing is basically an internet phenomenon, right? It's been happening not too long ago. It's been probably like around for like about 10 years. And it's when you have a product, you have a service, or a person, in the case of, let's say, Johnny Depp or Amber, who get a lot of reviews and a lot of bad rap from spam bots or from actual people that are hired in quantities to do defamation campaigns. So these are kind of like structured, organized defamation, like PR campaigns against products, against companies, and against people. So that is review bombing basically, and it's kind of increasing in terms of, this is a cybersecurity problem, obviously, and it's increasing nowadays. Ooh,
Sorry,
Someone's
guys.
calling. Who is it? Do we have a special guest coming in?
hello.
Hello.
He's not here right now. Thank you. So, so Andrew, you have a a personal experience with this type of stuff. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, I mean, so one of my past companies, it was a service-based organization, and we had a client that basically had a situation happen to them. We went out, we took care of the concern, but it was in a timely fashion because of the situation at the time. This customer wasn't overly happy with the turnaround time, put a very negative review on the company's site. And then, of course, I rebutted to it and apologized for the situation, gave them the recommendation what was going to happen. But I guess the way I worded it, or the way I came across, he came back in more of a defensive mode, and then it became almost a banter back and forth where officially, and then eventually I stopped, and it was never a he say, she say. It was really the way it was interpreted. And then basically weeks and even months later, other people read it because it stayed there. And then said, well, I'm going to go to this other service to buy this because of what happened with this incident. And it was hard because, for one, I couldn't really remove it. For two, I did everything that I thought was right as a business owner. And I commented, I apologized. I gave a solution. I even actually credited and paid for a service that they had to use at the time. But then his response was, yeah, kind of, why didn't you do this ahead of time? It's because of these reviews, you're helping me. And it was really misconstrued, and it hurt us for a short period of time. And then again, months later, people still commented, the reason I'm not going to go here is because of this. And it was really unfortunate because it was just completely the way he interpreted my response to him. And then it kind of snowballed from there. And it was, like I said, it was too bad. So I can see how quickly something innocent or minor can be turned into something very negative or detrimental to your company.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if I may, words, right? They have power. The whole saying, like a pen is mightier than the sword. I mean, nowadays it's even tenfold, right?
Yeah.
So just somebody writing something and their opinion happens to be negative, that has power to it, as you learned.
Well, what about it? I mean, to that point, Tamara, interpretation is everything. How many read a text or an email, and it's like someone bolded something or capitalized or put an exclamation point at the end, and they're like, oh shit, why are they yelling at me? Or why are they, well, they're not yelling, they're excited, but you interpreted it wrong, right? And so with this type of interaction on people's websites, leaving comments and stuff, depending on how and who's putting it, it can certainly have a negative effect. Again, it can have positive too, of course. But yeah, you got to be careful.
Yeah, so some instances that where this has occurred in kind of like the real world and big companies it's usually happens on the games industry and the film industry, movies and stuff. Like, for example, Star Wars, the sequel trilogy, The Last Jedi. Remember that movie? When it came out, there was a flood of negative audience reviewing, either on Rotten Tomatoes or Cinema Score and all of those review sites, like really bad reviews about the movie, the characters, the whole entire movie, and that affected the performance of that movie, the revenues, quite a bit. I just watched it with my family. I just watched the Last Jedi again, probably a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, you know what, this movie is not that bad. It's not as like the like the what is it, the clones, I forget, the Return of the Clones, it was a pretty good movie. The Clone Wars. There you go.
Speaking about Clone Wars, I like your Spock behind you there, Tamara. Very, very cool. Is it a cookie jar?
Star Trek.
Star Trek, exactly. No, I knew it was Star Trek. Trek.
Okay.
That's why I kind of aligned the Star Trek and Star Wars thing, because I thought I would think that.
I'm a Trekkie too. Yes, it is a cookie jar. Yeah,
it is cool. Very cool.
Yeah, so it had really bad reviews, and then you have like Google reviews, actual Google reviews that get a ton of spam and a ton of bad reviews from people that sometimes they don't even have accounts. It's just like fake accounts, and those are the important ones. If you're a small and medium-sized business and somebody is searching for your company, product, or service, and they see the Google reviews and they see that you have a 1 or 2 or 3 star on your reviews, they're not going to buy from you. People are just not going to buy from you. Right?
It's so true, because I never used to really read reviews, and I've so much churned. Like, in the last 5 years ago, I wouldn't even look at a review. 3 years ago, probably maybe 10-15% of the time, and now probably 80% of the time, if I'm going to travel, go to a restaurant, anything, I look at a review. And it's funny how that pendulum has changed so much. As far as, because your time is valuable, and you don't want to go somewhere and spend hard-earned money if all of a sudden 10 out of 12 people said it's there's just the shits, or vice versa. If 10 out of 12 say it's because again, you gotta take things in perspective. So I don't look at one negative review out of 10 and say, okay, well, that one person had a bad time, I'm not going to go. So you have to decipher that yourself. But I do believe it's a huge tool to make a decision on influencing purchases, etc.
Yeah. How do you shop? How do you buy your gear, your swag, and your stuff? What is the first thing that you do?
I usually have a plan of what I'm looking for, and then I will go online first to find some different sources. I think a lot of people now are reading reviews and watching unboxing videos. I do that a lot. I watch Marquez Brownlee. He's one of my favorite ones. He does MKBHD, and so I do my research before I go to the store. And it's funny, usually when I go to the store, I know more about the product than the salesperson helps. Right?
It's so true.
And they're usually, and it's funny. I go to Best Buy, I ask for something. Oh, we don't have that. Go look on Amazon. I'm like, you guys want my business? It's crazy, right? So I do my own research prior to even going to the store. And honestly, it looks like that's the way the world is going now. It's mostly going to be online.
Yeah,
but you know what? That's Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go to Best Buy and ask any of the reps in there to tell you more about the TV or the computer or whatever electronics you're looking for, to tell you anything about it that is outside of the list of features that it has. The rep won't be able to tell you anything because they sell. They're not experts at that, right? So, I do the same thing too, right?
A few years ago, I wanted to buy a new pair of Beats headsets, right? And I had the original, the first wireless version, and I wanted to get the newest iteration. So I went into the store and I was trying it out. And previously, they used to have buttons on the side to like change, the song volume up and down. but the new iteration, it didn't, or wasn't obvious. It was just the Beats logo, and depending on the number of times you pressed it, it would do different actions. So I didn't know that. So I was speaking to the
Mm.
representative. I'm like, "Hey, I used to have the original version, and it had these different buttons, but I don't see that on here." And he's like, "Oh yeah, they discontinued that. That's no longer available. You have to use your phone." And I'm like, "That makes no sense. This was a great feature they had in the old version. Why would they take that away?" He's like, "Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, this is what it is." So I was like, I took him at his word, but then I was like, you know what? Let me go back. And I went and I was just playing around with it. And I discovered that, if you press it twice, you'll skip forward. If you press it three times, you'll skip backwards. So
Right.
this guy, he spoke like an expert, but he didn't know at all. Right. And that's the kind of thing you have to deal with nowadays. They know
And you know what?
nothing. Sorry. Go
That's
ahead.
Yeah.
funny. That's funny, Glassman, because it's so true. And you know what? So the buying journey has changed, but also the selling journey has changed. Because for the automotive industry, for example, technology, etc., as Dan said, the customer knows more going in than a lot of these salespeople. So
Yeah.
You have to, as a
Yeah.
salesperson, I mean, Dan, we're talking full circle here because of how this dramatically affects the buying habits and the industry in every aspect. So the sales guys have to approach their customers different. The knowledge base and what
Yeah.
they're educated and how they come across has to be different because the client, again, is going to walk in with a complete different perspective. 8 out of 10 times, they're going to walk in and say they know exactly what they want because they've done the research.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
So really you're selling your quality of personality, the interaction of the store, making them feel good when they're there versus where before it was more technology driven. We told them about this, and the fundamentals because things have shifted. Everything's pivoted in a lot of ways. So it's funny because I didn't even think about that until this conversation, how much that Google reviews have actually changed the sales process in the same token. So true.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And
Mm.
Dan, we do have a comment. I don't know if can you see it on the screen?
oh shoot, comments, people out
We
there.
forgot about comments.
Oh
Yes.
my
Forgot.
goodness.
We have an audience. So Eduardo says, I believe that the media contributes to polarization of the public.
Whoa, the
I
media.
agree.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
100%.
agree.
Totally agree.
Especially
100%.
in this day and age with like social media, YouTube especially. How many times have we clicked on a video? It says one thing, the thumbnail shows you one thing. You look at the
And
video, nothing
are
related
you
to the
kidding? I agree.
thumbnail,
I do that all
Yeah.
the time.
right?
I'm like, damn it.
And the media's been doing this for a long time. If you back in the day when we read newspapers, there'll be a headline, and then people nowadays just read the headline. They're like, "Oh, that's all I need to know."
I
They
know
don't bother
everything.
reading
Yeah.
the actual body, and it's completely different. They'll cherry pick certain items from a sentence, and then you're thinking, "Oh, Johnny Depp said this," when in fact there's more context to it that's left out. But unfortunately, people don't take the time to read an entire article or watch a full video. They just go by the headline or what the thumbnail says and they run with it. And unfortunately, if there's an edit made, a correction, nobody bothers to go back and
Yeah.
revisit that. The
Yeah. So
truth.
Mm.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. And I think it's two things. The first one is whoever has the bigger budget is going to have a better media reputation out there because they have, I mean, whatever company because they have the PR team, they have like the entire, um, a lot of money, a lot of budget to be able to do things in social media, television, radio, and etc. Right? That's
Well, the media
unfortunate.
companies are large conglomerates, right? Like I used to work for many, many years in the media and in
Yes.
the newspaper industry. And it went from, your local writer going downtown to writing a story to somebody in a major metropolis, 2 states over, two provinces over, sharing content, and everything became centralized to save dollars, etc. So then you got the one voice of the one opinion, and it just basically, again, you got to see what you wanted to see, and it wasn't it wasn't detailed. It wasn't exactly what they were promising, and it was very politically driven in a lot of ways. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
And the other thing, and I don't know if you watch those videos on YouTube, it is systematic. And what I mean by systematic is you have a script, somebody's reading a script, a newscaster is reading a script, and it's the same script in every single establishment and every single
Yeah.
news
exactly, that's what
news
I'm saying. All
channel.
shared content.
Yeah.
And it's shared content. It's like, okay, guys, we have this piece of content that we gotta send to the world, and so we to the masses, right? So, and I think Tamara, you were saying something about
Hmm.
this to me before the show. Can you repeat that part about the media and the masses and all of that?
No, I was just, I think I was talking about how Yeah, we tend to, again, polarization, we tend to go, like-minded people go in the same type of direction. And what happens is you have social media and all these outlets where they're sending you these certain types of messages, right? As this huge group. And it's in our nature, really. It's like the most heuristic part of us is to go with what we think everyone is saying and what everyone's opinion is stating. And so you'll go online and you'll look at things and realize that you'll read one comment or two comments or whatever it is, and again, if it even tweaks a little bit with what you think or believe, you're going to automatically go in that direction.
Exactly.
It's and it's very difficult to fight that, because I mean, I'm not a psychology major or anything, but I know that that is the nature of us being human, is we
Fear of
look for
missing out,
that.
right?
Yeah, you look for that commonality and you naturally go with that. So and you see that in everywhere, like you said, everywhere it's being bombarded in the media.
Well,
Absolutely.
they talk about that. There's a lot of people out there. They call people now sheeple, right? Because
Yes.
we heard, right? I mean,
Yes.
it's so true, and I'm glad I got a laugh out of you, Dan. I used to years ago. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a big entrepreneur. I always have lots of companies on the go, lots of ideas. Years ago, and I know they do this now. I created a company called Hire a Crowd for the idea of exactly that mindset. Like if you're walking in a mall and you had two identical stores, same name, say everything, and everything was on sale, the exact same thing, and you hired a crowd to be in this store, and there was 200 people in there buying and shopping and buzzing around, and nobody was at this store over here. Guess where you're going to go to as a person? You're going to go to where you're missing out. You don't want your fear of missing out, right, FOMA? So
Right.
the reality of it is to that mindset where you're being influenced by the media, being influenced by things that you believe in or you hear, or solidifies or makes you believe what you're thinking is true, then you just kind of keep going with it. And again, that's where this whole talk comes full circle.
Right.
Where we're being influenced by Google reviews and everything else, it's very important for you to go on, write positive reviews, write unbiased reviews, because these comments affect people's livelihoods, and even more so now than ever before, especially after COVID, etc. You're going to pick and choose where you're going. I'll give you a perfect example. I'm going on a holiday in a couple of weeks. I've been to this location a few times, but I haven't been before COVID. I haven't been before hurricanes and things like that. So what I did is I went on and I read the reviews for people who had visited this place in the last 2 months. And 9 out of 10, as I said, were all basically positive. So it reinforced my already opinion of it, but I would have considered maybe going somewhere different if I read 9 out of 10 were negative. So it is really important. And again, back to this whole conversation, how, leaving reviews, positive, negative, etc., and as individual organic reviews, that's the strength, not the big groups, as Dan alluded to, where it's like, we're going to target this organization specifically to try and put them out of business or hurt this service. So you as a consumer really need to be educated and need to be fair to your experiences with these customers.
But that's the thing about this principle of having the social proofing, right? Like we do it, I feel, sometimes without realizing. Like, how do we determine what's right, what's good for us, what's the correct action, or how to feel, think, or believe, right? And that's the issue, is like you come online and, man, like, again, with everything, you can destroy a business, right? Or the opposite effect, sure. But you're right, Gladstone, like what you were saying earlier, there's this tendency for the negativity to be what people like to feed off of, right? So it's like you can destroy a business with words. You can destroy a business with a few reviews. A business, a small local business, or a big, celebrity like Johnny Depp. It doesn't seem to matter. Everywhere on that spectrum, we're going to become these victims of this sort of social proofing.
And you know what I think is really important about that, Tamara? I think it full circle back to business. If you're having, you have really great customers, don't be scared. Like, this is really important to take away. Yes. Don't be scared to reach out to those customers and ask them, would you mind putting a review on for me? For one, you obviously have confidence in that service. Two, the person is going to be very pleasantly receive that information. Oh, they want my Google review. So they're going to do it, right? So they're going to be gracious to do it. And it's going to help your business. Now, again, I think it's really important, because if you, as Dan said, if you only have 1 or 2 reviews and they're not the best, or even if they're okay, but somebody else has 25 reviews and 75% are good, you're going to go there. So utilize the relationship you formulated, that you basically have cultivated, that you give good service to. Ask them to give great reviews. You could have, here's a great coupon. Here's a great tip for maybe a comeback scenario. This just came to my head. You could have a little coupon in a restaurant and say to them, by the way, here's a 10% coupon if you wouldn't mind going and doing a Google review on our business. Just little things like that, because it's so impactful now, and it's more important now than ever positive reviews for your business.
Yeah.
And again,
Exactly.
negative can
Yeah.
be negative.
And then this comes back to this philosophy that Google came out with, and this was like over 10 years ago, 2011, and it's still very relevant into 2022. It's the zero moment of truth. When you have the stimulus, right? So you have a person, the stimulus is basically, oh, I got to buy this, like this gadget here because I need it for something. That's the stimulus. The first thing that they're going to do, as Gladstone was saying, is start finding out more about the product, the services, the company, whatever it is, right? So you go online, you check out their Google reviews, you go to Facebook, you check out the reviews on Facebook and what people are saying, then you go to YouTube, unboxing, reviews by experts, and you start doing this homework. The more expensive the item is, obviously you want to make sure you have that peace of mind that you're going to buy something and you have like a less buyer's remorse afterward, right? So the more information that you're going to find. So they determined that more than 50%, I think it's like 55% of the purchase was made before even reaching out to the company.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. So if you think you have a good product, a good service, you need to make sure that you get those reviews, you get people commenting, you have not just yourself, because a company can have a budget to create marketing campaigns and create all of this, but you need to have like influencers, and people that know about the stuff doing reviews on your company service and that's going to help you quite a bit on sales.
I think you're
absolutely.
So true, because advertising used to be, I have an advertising budget, $5,000, $20,000,
Yes.
whatever it is, and I could put an ad in a newspaper, and I'm going to talk to the masses, and I'm going to get business. Now it's not about doing a one-trick pony. It's multiple platforms, multiple solutions. You have to have all of those tools, because it's more than just advertising your product. It's advertising what the value of that product is to the consumer, and to have them be influenced before they make the decision to purchase.
Well, it reminds me too, Andrew, of something I read too, where like I read this statement and researching a bit today, and I was thinking, I read this quote about advertising now, and along the lines of what you were saying, how it's not really that advertisers need to persuade us individually that a product is good, but it's like they need others to say that it's good. It's more about that versus that direct influence on each consumer. It's changed.
Exactly. So this is, go ahead, Gladstone.
Yeah, we have a comment here, and I also have a question afterwards. So Oscar Garrido says, Amber is going to lose this case. Haven't you heard?
Haven't you heard? I love that. Haven't you heard? Well said, Oscar.
Dan, my question to you, maybe you can answer after this video. So what do you do to repair the damage that's done by
Great question.
Right?
Great question, and it's coming up, so stick around. So yeah, this is the moment of truth, and this is from the zero moment of truth, which is Google basically saying this.
Marketers have been using a 3-step mental model of marketing for a long time. Stimulus, like developing a TV ad. Shelf, focusing on point of sale, which has historically been called the first moment of truth. And experience. People take the product home and experience it. They could have a good experience or a bad experience, and they share it. This is the second moment of truth. If marketers spend time on these 3 steps, they should succeed, right? We investigated this theory. We conducted a comprehensive study with research partner Shopper Sciences using 5,000 shoppers across 12 categories, from groceries to cars and financial products. The goal, show where influence takes place as shoppers move from undecided to decided. We found that the average shopper used 10.4 sources of information, up from 5.3 sources in 2010. We asked shoppers what sources they used to make decisions, when they used it, and how influential is each source. When we lined up their responses, a 4th step appeared in the marketing mental model, the zero moment of truth. This is when consumers do their research, get smart about alternatives, read reviews, look for coupons and comparison shop, all before going to the shelf. When we compare the steps, the zero moment of truth pops up as highly relevant and influential. Consumers have changed the way they have approached decision-making. As a marketer, have you kept up, or are you still using the old mental model? There's a new mental model now, and marketers that can now keep all these steps spinning gain a very competitive advantage in today's marketplace.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is 2011.
And that, oh
This
yeah,
is
wow.
Wow.
Imagine how
this
much
is
more.
11
you can.
years ago.
Wow.
But you know what? Companies out there still don't understand this.
I know, it's
And this
crazy.
is that what drives me crazy, because it's so it is kind of like an all encompassing solution for your business if you want to increase sales, right? And there's still a lot of companies that don't follow this strategy, and this is becoming more and more prevalent because of all the ease of technology that we have, social medias and everything is
Information.
very it's very open, right? So
Yeah.
so that's the moment of truth.
Dan, in regards to the moment of truth, Gladstone, wasn't there a number that was influenced, like, I mean, through this whole platform? What was that number we talked about at the beginning? 3.8 trillion or so? Yeah, is that, there we go.
Yeah.
So there you go. Read it. Go ahead and read it.
Okay. So in 2021 alone, online reviews influenced $3.8 trillion globally.
Well,
Trillion.
that just coincides perfectly with that video,
Yeah.
right? I mean, how much that what we're talking about is influence, and why your advertising dollars and everything else need to be changed, and your perception of how you're targeting your clients need to be changed. There's no question.
Yeah,
We have a comment
absolutely.
here, guys.
Sure, go ahead.
Oscar. All right.
Oh, this is great. Yeah.
Ooh.
So fun fact, did you guys know that the first radio commercial were up to 10 hours long? Wow. It's crazy how
Crazy.
now we have 10-second YouTube ads compared to 10 hours. That wow.
Yeah, because we don't
What
have
were they
time
selling? Like
anymore.
instant
time?
gratification.
Yeah.
We need.
Well, I
That's
was
nuts.
saying that earlier to you guys, right? Like, who has the time anymore to even try to do some sort of in-depth research, really? When Gladstone, you were talking about doing our research as consumers. Yeah, we do our research, but it's you're right. It's just so quick, right?
Well,
It really is so much reliance on
you're
what
right,
others
Tim.
have experienced.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're absolutely
For
right.
sure.
I don't want to waste my time doing it, or not necessarily waste my time, but
Right.
it's because I know if I go in the store, they know nothing, right?
Yeah.
So I'm literally selling myself. So I have to
Right.
do that research. So when I go in, it's a quick grab what I need. I've already determined what I want to get, right? So
Yeah.
it's just a new
No more
norm.
10 hours.
Well, it's a weird
Yeah.
analogy. This is a really weird analogy, but I'm going to use it. Imagine going into a grocery store hungry, right? What do you want to do? Pick up everything, right? But if you
Mhm.
go into the store with knowledge, you only go to what you want to buy.
Exactly.
Same kind
That
of thing.
happens
It's
to me
all
all the
about
time,
perception
man.
and how you are prepared.
Yeah, do not go to the store
Hungry.
when you're hungry, because you're gonna buy all kinds of sweet snacks and all the
Exactly.
like fast food
Mhm.
stuff to fulfill your tummy first, and
That's
then you're
right.
gonna buy some nutritious
Yeah,
stuff
that's a bad
after.
thing. Yes. No, don't do that. Don't shop hungry. No way.
Yeah. So to answer Gladstone's questions, what do you do if you get review bombed?
Great question.
Yeah.
Like there's people putting all kinds of bad stuff about you, yourself, or your product, your company. Even this is especially true for small businesses, man.
Mhm.
Because imagine, like
Mhm.
Tamara, you've been in the fitness industry as a personal
Yeah.
trainer for a
Yeah.
long time. What if
Yeah.
somebody is not liking you very much, and they start getting all their friends to post bad reviews about you?
Right. Like that's the thing, right? It's what I still say we use word of mouth, sure, to get business and whatnot. But this is different now, right? Like this isn't just like, oh, word of mouth. This is something that I feel anyways. Gosh, it can be so detrimental. Just one review. And again, yeah, I ran and continue to kind of a side hustle here. Like I do the in-home training and I rely 100% on clients being satisfied, happy, and whatnot. And then, from there on, right? We all do.
Yeah.
But man, if one person had wrote something, imagine, there's no way that I could have the success that I would have had. Because being a person with such a small, group, like I'm not a big business. It's something very small in the community. And that word, again, or that saying, or that whatever it is that's been posted against me will just fly through. It will hit so many people.
Yeah.
And you're right. And here comes, it's like, how do I stop that? Because
Right.
like I can say I have not been a victim of that, thank God. Not, I haven't. But man, if that happened to me, I wouldn't have a clue. Like, how do I respond? Like you, Andrew. I'm like, oh man, I would try
Right.
to write a reply, or like, how do you
Yes.
Yep.
how do you do
What the heck do I do,
damage
man?
control? Right?
Well,
What's the
guys,
damage
question
control?
regarding replying, because I had a client that I was just doing some research on recently, and I noticed there were some negative reviews, and I noticed the client was
Yeah.
actually responding. So me
Yeah.
myself, I'm a bit of I like to think I'm a deep thinker anyway. So I'm like,
Mhm.
is he just trying to cover his ass right now, or is this actually truthful? Is it worth
Right.
responding? Because that if someone
Right.
dies, it might just look like you're trying to do damage control, or do you ignore it and just hope that you can get more of the
Exactly.
Don't
positive
ignore
reviews
it.
to kind of
That's
Don't
drive
that's
some?
ignore. There's a
No,
lot of
right?
opinions around. There's a lot of opinions around that, again, which you can Google and review, because a lot of people have different opinions. But there
Mhm.
is a percentage, they say a percentage of people that, or business owners, etc., that do reply get negative feedback, kind of like my experience. But then there's
Right.
also, on the other hand, people who reply and get very positive. So I think it's something
Yeah.
that you really need to research before you respond, and how to respond. Because again,
Well,
saying
because
too
yeah.
much can hurt you. Saying not enough can hurt you.
Right.
Right, because I was gonna say, Glass, when you reminded me of that sort of like a mentality, old school mentality. I was raised that way. It's like, if you haven't done anything wrong and someone's speaking an untruth about you, well, you don't
Right.
reply because you'll
It's like
speak for yourself
Shakespeare.
that way. Right, right. So it's like that's what a tendency is. Maybe we shouldn't say anything or do anything about it.
Exactly.
But this is past that point now. This is the thing. It's
Exactly.
past that point of, sticks and stones may break, my bones, the old school saying, but like
Yeah.
words will never hurt me. So you're like, you can tough it out and be like, right? It's not like that anymore.
No.
Because
Exactly.
it's at this point, like I was saying, it's
The
just the
customer's going to think you don't
impact.
care.
well.
There you go, right?
If you get bad reviews, I think there's more hurt if you don't respond to
I agree.
the comments. Okay, so
Right.
first of all, you should not respond by defending yourself. I don't think you should defend
good
yourself and what happened, because people don't know what happened, right? I think you should acknowledge the comment, and then tell the person that, like, reach out to customer service, or like, we will be happy to refund your money, or we be, like, it's unfortunate that you had a really bad a bad experience with us, blah blah blah, and not cover your butt, like, you shouldn't cover your butt, but you should offer alternatives to the person, right? So I think people that read those reviews and the rebuttals or the responses
Respect the
are,
response.
yeah, will be more inclined to let go of those type of reviews, right?
And
As
again, you
opposed
know,
to
Yeah.
not responding at all.
yeah, and like, to
Mm.
my point, it just happened. Unfortunately, I got somebody who wanted to talk
Mm.
and continue further and anticipate further, because it literally, I did try exactly that, Dan. And then of course, then I would rebuttal again in a nice way, but then it became almost a banter, which was, at a certain point we had to stop, right? Which I think I did, but that created a negative effect. But to Dan's point, I agree full-heartedly. I think you need to address the concern, so people know you care as a business, and then kind of take it in a different direction to hopefully mitigate that concern, or hopefully make that customer
Yes,
happy.
absolutely. You have to show good customer
Empathy.
service,
100%.
period, right?
People
Yeah,
don't
and I
have that
think,
anymore. That's
and
critical. That's so important.
I was going to add, and hey, and if you have screwed up, you made a mistake, address it. Because that's the other thing,
It's
right?
okay.
Is
It's a good point.
sometimes maybe
People are real.
there's a valid review or a valid comment being
Yep.
made. And as a business owner, if you screw it up, man, you have to own it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You could. I
So
mean, good point.
I am a what do you call it, a guide, they call it review guide on Google. So I have like hundreds and hundreds of reviews with pictures and videos and stuff like that, and I'm a very good unbiased reviewer, right? So I have reputation on my reviews. So when I review something, it goes to the top of the channel when I'm doing my reviews, because I'm a guide, right? And Google does that. They actually they give you kind of like awards and accolades if you're reviewing quite a bit,
Oh, okay.
right? So the one day I review a burger company, right, like one of these establishments, and they said they were sorry that you encountered this bad customer service, blah blah blah, or something happened to your burger or whatever meal. Here's a free coupon, just go and claim it. It's like they got me to interact with them so they could give me the coupon so I can get a percentage off. I don't remember what it was, or a free burger or something like that
Yeah.
on the establishment. So I was like, seriously, you are gonna do this for me? That's amazing.
But you know what? That's I love that. And again, let's I'm going to play devil's advocate here. So if someone knows that happens with a review, and they make a kind of a nice negative
Yeah.
review, and they get rewarded for that, what if they do that all the time to get the reward? And therefore,
Mhm.
it's not real criticism. Then it's to get the benefit from the negative review. And again, that's where this whole thing is manipulation, and you know, people take advantage of that. So I love your explanation as a guy who is, you know, a big reviewer. But if someone wants to manipulate your power, which they can, do they? And I'm assuming the answer would be
Well, if you're talking about Google, for example, if you don't have any reviews and you're putting like a lot of bad reviews just to get stuff, Google will not put you up there.
okay,
It
perfect.
will
Okay,
give you
good.
less. But if you are somebody that puts thousands of reviews out there and they're good, medium, and bad reviews and pictures and like,
Yeah,
because what Google does is it gives you points, and it gives you more points when you have more description about those reviews, about
right,
you know, like you're actually saying what happened, and you're giving more, not just a you know, like a bad like the stars, for example.
right,
um then they consider you to have more weight. So
right.
if you're a company, if you have a restaurant and then you see bad reviews from people that don't have weight, it you're not gonna give them. But if you see a bad review from somebody that actually is a guide, then it's worthwhile of reaching out to them.
Mm.
Well,
That's what I think.
what I
Yeah.
think, and I appreciate you making that clear, making that, you know, clear statement, because what I look at then, as and then we talked about this at the very beginning of the show, you need to be educated when you're looking at those reviews, because if somebody, as you said, they don't care about Google, but they're going to every restaurant putting a negative review to get free stuff, it hurts the restaurant. But as a consumer, I should be looking at not just one or two reviews, because somebody could be manipulating the system. But if you are a valid reviewer, 8 out of 10, like I said earlier, are probably positive. So then go and make your own judgment.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I think that's really important to understand in that
Well-
process. As a business, reading those reviews, someone taking advantage, and as a real person like yourself, Dan, who's going to write it to better that company or to share your feedback in a real manner because you have that professional opinion.
Now I have a question. I mean, in the case of, say, like somebody being defamed, right? Like the defamation idea. If you are on there and someone is, or could be maybe disgruntled employees, or you know what I mean, like some sort of a person who's out there to get you I don't know, personal reasons, and they do start to write really bad negative reviews. Is there a safety to this Google review thing? Because I don't know too much about that.
In Google reviews, if you are an employee, for example, or if you don't have business relationship, let's say with another country, and they're putting bad reviews, you can actually call them. You can call Google. You get a real person from Google to talk to you and do, like put an investigation on those reviews. And
Right. Okay.
if it's an employee, they will take it out right away, because it's supposed to be
Yeah.
clients and customers and people that are related to the business and in a client relationship, as opposed to a workplace relationship. There are other places people put a lot of reviews on Indeed, for example,
Mm-hmm.
on employees, and I guess
Right.
that's a different thing, right? So, but Google does try to do a really, they I think they do quite a good job. It was really bad back in, like a few years ago. I remember a lot of fake reviews and a lot of stuff, and Google couldn't keep up with all the
Right.
stuff. But now they're doing a pretty good job on determining if it's a fake review or a good review, right?
So Dan,
When-
is there a specific thing that a business should do or an individual should do? I know Gladstone asked this question earlier, and I think we kind of went
Yeah.
around it a bunch
So
of ways.
I'm actually showing here. This is from reputation.ca.
Perfect. Okay.
And they have an article on the steps, right? So the first step is determine the root cause. What has caused the bad reviews, right? And the second step would be taking the appropriate actions, right? So rolling back unpopular decisions that you made, because some of these review bombings, they have to do with something that has happened, and like there is always a root cause. So
Right.
you are what if there's a decision that you've been made as a company, you got to take that back. You have to roll back. It's funny that they mention here firing a problematic employee. Ooh. What do you think about this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, there's always
It
that
happens.
fear that if you do that, that something will come back to haunt you later. I don't know, right?
Yeah, then
There's always
the
that-
problematic employee is going to put bad reviews about
Right.
you. Yeah, I mean, they say people who harasses or assaults or like racism, sexism, bigotry, and things like that. I mean,
For sure. You got to get rid of negativity. There's no question, or detrimental to your
absolutely,
business.
Yeah.
For sure.
recalling products, recalling
Yeah.
services. This is especially true when you have people reviewing stuff on
Yeah.
on YouTube and doing unboxing and stuff like that. That could hurt a company quite a bit, right? Um, and then you have to find the affected platforms, right?
Hmm.
So YouTube, Yelp, Google, or whatever, even Facebook, and you can call them, right? So you can get it out. Sometimes you can, like, even if if there is a client, or supposedly client, that put the bad review, you can actually get it deleted. And it's review bombing. I mean, to get that would mean that Google have to go back and delete 1,000 reviews from you, right?
Right. Okay.
But there's a pattern on how this happens. In the pattern is basically this: review booming happen in a very short amount of time.
Right.
Let's say you have some reviews, and then all of a sudden you get 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 bad reviews in different channels. You know you're being targeted,
Right.
right? Because this is not common, right? And they have negative goals. What is the goal? What is the intent of these reviews? And usually they're going to be from either competitor, or just somebody that has the budget to be able to do this and start manipulating and hiring companies out there that are going to review bomb you, right? And then you have to look at what they are. Why are they putting those reviews, right?
Mhm.
So those are kind of like the telltale signs of review bombing, right? If it's one or two people that are putting bad reviews on your company, it's harder to get rid of,
Right.
because this might be just course of
Ice-
business stuff, right?
Exactly. Isolated
Mm.
instances. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So, but even if they're isolated incidents, if you can prove that this person has not purchased from you, for
Right.
example, then Google will take it out. So we have a case where one of our clients, they got really bad reviews, right, from multiple people, and it was because one person didn't like the company, or the company, and they didn't even do business with the company. They went their own way, and then they were disgruntled. They started putting bad reviews, and they got their peers and friends to put bad reviews about this company, and they did, and they had really bad. So we contacted the Google on behalf of of our client, and they took it all out. So there is sometimes ways that you can actually take out their reviews.
The thing is, though, I mean, that's Google, but then it makes me think, well, what about all the other platforms that might be affected, right? It's like, gosh, I mean, it can spread like wildfire, right? And then you've got all the other platforms to deal with.
And you know what? Speaking about all this, sorry, Gladstone, I cut you off. My apologies.
No, I was just going to say, there's a saying that that is busy putting on its sneakers while the lie has traveled around the globe like several times, right? So
True.
not much
Wow.
Ooh, yeah.
I've never heard that saying, but I like it.
G Money moment. I was waiting for the G Money moment.
He always has to drop the mic at least once. I like it.
Yeah.
I like that. The G Money moment. That's coined forever now.
That's coined forever. I like it.
Thank
Thank you, Tamara. I love that saying. Good one.
Well, it's true, man. You always got something to say. And I'm like, whoa, it's making me think. Yeah. I haven't heard that one before, Gladstone. And
Really?
I tend to feel like I'm a deep person too. Like I do a lot of reading and all that. And I'm like, I haven't heard that.
Yeah. So there is also companies out there that you can use to hire. You can hire reputation managers and people that monitor, and they're in charge of flagging and doing PR campaigns.
PR, right.
PR.
Kind of going back to this full circle Johnny Depp thing. That's obviously something that he would have the money and resources to, and I would think most celebrities do, to have some sort of group of people, team of people to try to jump on that damage control.
It's all manipulation, right? So absolutely.
Yeah.
So whether the whole full circle with Johnny Depp or not, again, we don't have an opinion of it, but it was a great topic because it's so relevant.
I have an opinion on it.
Well, we all have an opinion. We have an opinion, but until the court comes,
I'm very opinionated. I just
guys,
I want to.
Yes, you are.
I
know. I appreciate that.
Hey guys, Johnny actually has something to say. If you can,
I saw that. I saw that. It's like,
nice.
wow.
I'm so happy that you joined us.
Thanks,
sir.
Johnny. This is how far we've come, guys. Apparently, Johnny
Depp joined the show. Wow.
Nice.
Awesome. All right, guys. I really appreciate. There you go again.
Great,
Okay.
great
So-
show. Just one last thing with you guys. For anybody out there running a business, please make sure you check your Google reviews. Please make sure that you basically do your due diligence. You cover your bases. You make sure you reply, as Dan alluded to. You know, and ask your good clients, etc., to leave reviews, because it's critically important. And if you happen
Yeah.
to, you know, if you don't pay attention to it, start paying attention to it, because as Dan alluded to in one of his videos, it is the basically number one pillar right now that the consumer is looking at to basically influence their purchase decisions in whatever category that is. So, you know, it's hopefully today's show shed a little light. I learned a lot from it as well today, because and I had a lot of opinions of it, and I've had real experiences from it, but great show. I really appreciated that, actually.
Amazing,
Yeah.
guys. 1 o'clock, right on the dot. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating
Thanks,
on
everybody.
our show, especially
Amazing.
Johnny Depp
Thank
out
you.
there.
Thank you, Tamara,
that
for
was
coming. You're
great.
welcome anytime. We
Yeah,
love
thanks,
having you.
guys. I
Thanks,
love
Thank
Tamara.
you
it.
so much, Tamara, for
Thank you.
being on the show. And we'll see you next Friday, 12 o'clock. Don't miss it. Live, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn.
And link book.
Mhm.
Link
Link book. Oh my God.
Link book. I'm not sure.
All right. So,
Bye, everybody.
bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Oscar. He says, have a great weekend,
weekend.
everybody.
Yeah.
There you go. Awesome.
See you, Johnny, by the way, wherever
Yeah.
you were. Thanks for joining.